Yeah, so good noon, everyone, and welcome back to Data Structures Theory Session. Yesterday, I just had a talk with Professor Hardik Doshi, and we discussed that, and I come to know that you haven't gone through dynamic memory allocation in the previous semester because of any reason. Let's say that topic has been skipped or not a situation to be covered. So what I've decided is we will go through dynamic memory allocation part first, and then we will actually start data structures. Okay? Because you will need dynamic memory allocation in this entire syllabus, entire semester. And you will be working with pointers. So let us revise those topics, pointers, and let us understand what is dynamic memory allocation. Now, for you guys, this is not the subject programming for problem solving. You were having C programming subject, right? CP. PPS is a subject for GTU students, but nevertheless, topic remains same: dynamic memory allocation. So we'll go through few topics, understanding part here, and then we will have a look at few programs also, one or two programs to handle dynamic memory. And after that, we will actually start our unit 1 of data structure later. Okay. So let's first go through this thing. The major part that you need to know about dynamic memory allocation is why we need it, what is the need of dynamic memory allocation, how we do it, and for that we have a set of inbuilt functions available which we are directly going to use: malloc, calloc, realloc, and free. Okay. So why we need dynamic memory allocation? There might be a case where before starting the execution of your program, you are not knowing how much amount of memory you will require. Okay. So if that is the case, that there is a situation where you do not know what exact amount of memory you will require, then what you should do is you should go for dynamic memory allocation. So you go for allocating a memory runtime, and how much memory you will allocate runtime? Just the size that is required for you. Just the size that is required for you. That much amount of memory you are going to allocate runtime. That's what dynamic memory allocation is. And as long as we are allocating memory just that is we require, okay, so we are actually using memory more efficiently. We are not wasting memory, correct? Because look, memory is always limited. Maybe you will have 1 GB RAM, 2 GB RAM, 8 GB RAM, or 16 GB RAM, but at the end that RAM is limited. Okay, your software cannot eat entire RAM, because that RAM is shared module, shared entity. Operating system is making use of RAM. Your software is making use of portion of that RAM. Other softwares are also making use of the same RAM. So it's not the thing that entire 16 GB or 32 GB or whatever amount of RAM you have in your system, you can eat that entire RAM. It's not possible. We cannot eat entire RAM, we cannot acquire entire RAM, but even with that, we can say we should write our program or our software which needs less amount of RAM. Then we can say that software is efficient one. And that's why using of RAM is more important here, right? So that's where dynamic memory allocation helps you. Statically, you are not going to allocate a bunch of memory, but runtime you are going to decide what memory size I require. And inside a C program, there are a number of inbuilt functions which will help us. And C executor does provide us that functionality with a service which is memory manager, which is going to allocate memory to us whenever we ask. Okay. I'll upload this PPT content in the e-content so that you can refer. Okay, you can refer this thing later on. Fine. We'll go through the important part that is needed here. Inside a C program, we have number of inbuilt methods which we can use. Okay, so like malloc, calloc, realloc, and free. These are the functions which we can use to operate a particular task. Malloc will allocate a memory block. Calloc will also do the same thing, will allocate a memory block. But the syntax is somewhat different, and we will see that later in the detail. Then realloc is a function if you want to reallocate a memory block. So sometimes it might be the case that you have allocated 10 bytes and later point of time you realize that 10 bytes are not enough. I need 20 bytes. Okay. So let's say पहले 10 बाइट हमने allocate किए लेकिन आगे जाके पता चला कि भाई 10 बाइट enough नहीं है. We need to have 20 bytes. In that case, we go for realloc. Okay, realloc function. And most important part, whenever we go for dynamic memory allocation, okay, do not forget to make that memory free using free function. So when we are done with our task, we should make that memory free again. So for that we have free function. Well, some of you are saying voice is glitching. It is the problem with 1 or 2 students only. I'll say that check your environment. Herschel is saying yesterday, sir, your yesterday wide. What do you mean, Herschel? Wide is not uploaded on portal, so please check it. Look, even in the faculty portal, even your online timetable has not been generated yet, so your attendance is not uploaded, and so your video is also not uploaded till now. Once everything is online, when I submit your attendance, you will also have that video link, recorded video link later. Okay. Dhiren is asking, sir, what is the use of reallocating? Yeah, that's what I was saying. Let's say you have decided to allocate a memory of 10 bytes. मान लो कि आपने 10 byte memory allocate की, and then you have started using it. जैसे ही उसको यूज करना स्टार्ट किया, बाद में आपको बिकॉज ऑफ एनी रीजन, लेट्स से आपको पता चला कि अरे ये 10 बाइट तो इनफ नहीं है, 10 बाइट में मेरा काम नहीं होगा, मुझे 20 बाइट चाहिए. ओके, सो एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम you will go for reallocating your memory. जो 10 बाइट ऑलरेडी allocate किए हैं, आप उसको reallocate करोगे 20 बाइट से. ओके, so that's how you go for reallocating a memory using realloc function. Yeah, we'll look into that whenever we go for allocating a memory runtime, it will still allocate you a memory continuously. The amount of that memory to be allocated, we will pass as a parameter. So we'll see that later, okay, in this discussion. Harsh is asking, did we miss anything yesterday? Yeah, well, yesterday's lecture was just an introductory part. We have discussed the syllabus, file, evaluation scheme, and all those things. Once that recorded video is uploaded, you can refer it at any point of time later, okay? Yeah, so let's see these functions in detail one by one. Well, I know that you are eager to see, eager to learn new things, but sometimes you have to keep patience. We are not done with this entire topic. So we will discuss all these functions one by one in detail. So most of your queries will be resolved. After that, if you have any query, you may still ask, okay? So let's go through those functions one by one. Malloc, the first one is the malloc. It is used to allocate a memory block dynamically. Okay. Now, how much amount of memory it is going to allocate? So we have to pass as a parameter what amount of memory I want. And that parameter is going to be in terms of bytes. Okay. In terms of bytes. So if I pass 10, then it is considered as 10 bytes. Okay. So it'll try to get a chunk of memory that we have asked for, and it will allocate that memory to us, and it will return the initial address of that memory block. So it returns a pointer. The initial address of that memory block will be returned. In some cases, if it cannot allocate a memory block, then it will return null pointer. So हमने जितनी मेमोरी मांगी है वो मेमोरी अलोकेट करने के बाद इनिशियल एड्रेस रिटर्न करेगा. एंड इफ इट इज अ केस कि भाई वो मेमोरी अलोकेट नहीं कर पा रहा है, then it is going to return null value. Okay. Now, what is the syntax? How we can write malloc statement? So this is how you can allocate a memory using code. So let us simply focus on the syntax. Malloc is a function, right? And then it requires a parameter. What amount of memory I require? And that's going to be in terms of bytes. Okay, number of bytes that we require. It will allocate that memory block and it will return the address of that memory block. So we are going to store that address in a pointer variable, PTR. Okay. Now we need to go for typecasting, explicit typecasting. Why? Because if I say that I want to store 10 integer values, then I'll say that 10 values multiply by size of integer. Now that's how I define what amount of memory I require. And it is going to allocate me that block and it will return me the address of that block. So, for example, if you say that integer pointer ptr, we have declared a pointer variable, and then what we do is we allocate a memory using malloc, and then I'll say that okay, I want to store 10 integer numbers, then I'm going to write 10 multiply by size of integer. So if integer requires 2 bytes, then this total is going to be 20 bytes size. Now size of integer depends on the platform, depends on the environment, operating system. If it is 32-bit OS, then integer requires 2 bytes. If it is 64-bit OS, then integer will require 4 bytes. So all your Turbo C code will require 2 bytes. All your emulators will require 2 bytes. But if you are running GCC compiler on Linux or Mac or somewhere, and if your operating system is 64-bit OS, then integer will require 4 byte, and this total will be 40 bytes size. So that's why we always go for size of operator. So depending on the OS, we decide what amount of memory I require. So I say I require 40 bytes. So when I execute this statement, okay, what C executor will do, somewhere inside your memory, okay, somewhere inside your memory, it is going to allocate me those 20 bytes. Let us stick to the size of integer 2 bytes. And so I require 20 bytes. So it will allocate a memory, okay, it will allocate a memory of 20 bytes total. And let us assume this memory is at some address, let's say 1080 is the initial address of this memory block, is the initial address of this memory block. Now this is just an assumption. Memory address are not like this directly. Definitely memory addresses are unsigned long integer values. Unsigned long integer values. Memory addresses are long integer values. But you can print those addresses depending on your requirement. You can print it in long type. You can print it in hexadecimal type also. It depends when you go and print that value, what placeholder you use in the control string, printf statement. Okay. But to easily understand this thing, we will assume this is what the address of that memory block is. Okay. So वो क्या return करेगा? It is going to return 1080. Okay. So that 1080 value we will receive from this place. And where do we store it? So let us store it inside PTR. Now what is PTR? PTR is again a separate variable of integer pointer type. So your program, okay, your program will also allocate 2 bytes memory for your PTR variable. PTR variable. Just a minute, guys. Yeah. So your program is going to allocate a separate memory for PTR variable. PTR is a pointer variable, so it is always going to be unsigned long integer data. Now let us assume address of PTR is something like is something like 2030. Just assume that is the address of PTR variable, pointer variable. And what we do now is we are going to store 1080 inside this PTR. So we are going to store 1080 inside this PTR. So indirectly we are pointing to this location. That's how pointers work. Pointer variables work. Correct? So now data type of this PTR variable is integer pointer. Correct? PTR is integer pointer data type. Malloc function is going to return you the address. Now it is address, but it is unsigned long integer value. So integer pointer and unsigned long integer, that these two values do not match. Now, whenever you go for equals to sign, okay, whenever you go for equals to sign, data on the left and right both should match properly. Then and then only your C program will be executed perfectly. When you use equals to sign, उसकी दोनों तरफ डेटा टाइप मैच होना चाहिए, वरना ये प्रोग्राम अच्छे से रन नहीं होगा. It will go for implicit typecasting. Now, whenever malloc will return the address, it is going to be void pointer. When malloc will return address, उसको नहीं पता है कि इस एड्रेस पे मैं क्या स्टोर करूंगा. malloc फंक्शन को पता नहीं है कि ये 20 बाइट्स जो मैंने अलोकेट किए हैं वहाँ पे मैं क्या स्टोर करूँगा. मैं इंटीजर स्टोर करूँगा, कैरेक्टर स्टोर करूँगा, फ्लोट स्टोर करूँगा. व्हाट एम आई गोइंग टू स्टोर देयर, इट डजंट नो. एंड दैट्स व्हाई वो क्या करेगा, वॉइड पॉइंटर रिटर्न करेगा. इट विल रिटर्न वॉइड पॉइंटर. नाउ ऑन द लेफ्ट साइड वी हैव इंटीजर पॉइंटर, राइट? So these two data types does not match, and that's the reason we have to go for explicit typecasting integer pointer here. Okay, that is the reason we explicitly typecast our address to the data type of our pointer variable here. So we can store 1080 address in PTR pointer, and using PTR we can access that memory location. So that's one reason void pointer को integer pointer में आप convert करोगे. There is another reason. When you typecast that 20 bytes memory block, जो continuous memory allocation था, एक single block था आपके पास, okay? वो सिंगल ब्लॉक जो है वो अब सेपरेट मल्टीपल पार्टीशंस में कन्वर्ट हो जाएगा, ईच ऑफ 2 बाइट्स. सो व्हेन यू टाइपकास्ट दैट मेमोरी ब्लॉक टू इंटीजर पॉइंटर, उस 20 बाइट्स के मेमोरी ब्लॉक को आप 2-2 बाइट के 10 पार्टीशन में कन्वर्ट भी करोगे. सो दिस टाइपकास्टिंग will also make this change inside your memory, and that is virtual. Okay, so you can say these are the these partitions are nothing but my array elements, 0 1 2 3 up to 9 index values. Okay, so when we allocate a memory runtime, that memory block, a continuous memory will be allocated to us, and we will have the initial address. Using that initial address, once we have it in a pointer variable, we can access entire memory block. If we have typecasted it to integer pointer, then that will be something like integer array. If you typecast it to character pointer, then that will be something like character array, and so on. Okay, so this is what happens behind the screen. जब आप रन टाइम मेमोरी अलोकेट करते हो, then कुछ इस तरह से प्रोसेस होगी आपके कंप्यूटर के अंदर. And now using PTR you can access this memory addresses, pointers and arrays that you have already learned, right? So this is nothing but the same thing. We have pointer PTR and we have memory block which contains number of integer values, so that's integer array. Okay, so this is how we can allocate a memory using malloc function. Yeah, now let me go through a little bit of your queries maybe. Yeah, Heath is asking syllabus of data structure. You can find it in a Marwar University website. Okay, even I'm going to upload it in the e-content once everything is settled up. Allocation will be carried out by heap, right? Yes, it is. That you will learn more in operating system subject. Okay, Om was asking that this allocation will be done in a heap. Yes, it will be done in a heap. Everything which is constant will be allocated in a stack. Everything which is variable will go inside heap, and that will be allocated to a particular process by the operating system. So that you will learn more in operating system subject. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Heap, H-E-A-P, heap. You are going to learn more in operating system subject. That's why I haven't told you this is going to be inside the heap. Yeah. And if we would have taken double the size, will be 8. Well, what double the size, Om? What do you mean by double the size? Yeah, typecast to double. Well, definitely. Look, if you are typecasting that thing to double here, then obviously you are going to have size of double, correct? Because that much amount of memory you will require. So these three things, three places will match. Size of integer, then integer pointer typecasting, and your pointer variable will also be integer pointer. So these three places will match. Then and then only you will work with your memory efficiently. अगर आपको डबल वैल्यू स्टोर करनी है तो डबल पॉइंटर लेना पड़ेगा, साइज ऑफ डबल लेना पड़ेगा और डबल पॉइंटर में टाइप कास्ट करना पड़ेगा. ठीक है. अगर आपको कैरेक्टर चाहिए तो कैरेक्टर पॉइंटर साइज ऑफ कैरेक्टर ले लो. अगर आपको फ्लोट चाहिए तो फ्लोट पॉइंटर साइज ऑफ फ्लोट ले लो, एंड सो ऑन. Well, Heath is saying, explain nathi thayo amne. I don't understand your query, Heath. If you have any doubt, you can ask right now. Ankur is asking, if we don't have required space for allocation and the cast the return value to some data type, then what exactly would happen? Well, I've already told you, if you do not have enough memory to be allocated, then it returns null pointer, right? अगर इनफ मेमोरी अवेलेबल नहीं है तो वो नल पॉइंटर रिटर्न करेगा. अगर अवेलेबल है मेमोरी, देन इट इज गोइंग टू अलोकेट यू द मेमोरी. आपको रिटर्न में क्या मिलेगा? उसका इनिशियल एड्रेस. Yeah, Herschel is saying it means the data types are same for memory allocation. Yes, it is. It is needed. Whatever data you want to store, okay, अगर आपको इंटीजर डेटा स्टोर करना है तो आप उसको इंटीजर पॉइंटर में टाइप कास्ट करोगे here. अगर आपको कैरेक्टर डेटा स्टोर करना है, then you are going to typecast it to character pointer. Only in that case, using the pointer variable, you will be able to access those values from memory. To understand a pointer, let me very quickly give you that example. From your queries, I come to know that you are not much clear with pointer also. Otherwise, this won't be the case. These won't be the questions from your side. Look, what is pointer? Let's say I have one integer variable a, which is having value 5. So when I run this statement, what happens inside the memory, if this is your memory, okay, then inside your memory, you will be allocated a memory block of, let's say, 2 bytes. Okay, 2 bytes size, because integer requires 2 bytes memory, and it is going to be labeled as a, variable name a. Now let us assume this 2 bytes has been allocated to you at some address 1050. This is the address of that memory block. And inside that memory, you are storing value 5. Inside that memory block, you store the value 5. Now that's normal variable. Now later in your program, let's say you go for integer pointer p. What you do is you go for declaration of a variable p, which is a pointer variable. Then you will be allocated another block for variable p. Now the size of this variable depends on the address. Okay, if your address is unsigned integer value, okay, if it is unsigned integer value, then it requires 2 bytes. If it is unsigned long integer value, then it requires 4 bytes or 8 bytes, and even these number of bytes will depend on whether it is 32-bit OS or it is 64-bit OS. So 32-bit will require 2 bytes for integer, 64 bits will require 4 bytes for your integer value. And that we will see also when I run my program on my machine. And if I show you size of integer, it is going to be 4 bytes. But if you run your program in Turbo C, then it is going to be 2 bytes, okay? Because Turbo C works on a 32-bit environment, okay? So that difference you will see later. But let's consider it is going to be unsigned integer value only for now. Sorry. Okay, for now it is going to be unsigned integer value, and in that case it's going to be 2 bytes again. And let us assume variable p has been allocated its memory somewhere at 4020 address. Okay, this is the address of variable p. Now later point of time in your program, when you write p equals to ampersand a. Now what is this ampersand? What is this ampersand? Someone please reply in a chat box. What is this ampersand sign? Yeah, it gives the address of variable. This gives the address of variable a. So it is address operator. So tell me, what will be the value of ampersand a? What is the address of a? Correct, it is 1050. And where do we store that value? Inside p. Correct? We store that value 1050 inside variable p. So value of p is going to be 1050. And indirectly, p is now pointing to that address. P is now pointing to the address 1050. So this is what happens internally when you execute these 3 lines in a program. P is a pointer variable which is having address of variable a. Okay. So now if we want to have the actual value 5 using variable p, if I want value 5 using variable p, yeah, in that case what I'm going to do is I'm going to use star p there. So if I go for printf %d and if I write star p here, then this star operator, okay, this is a dereferencing operator. It is called dereferencing operator. Indirection operator, whatever you want to call. But this is going to give me value 5 because star p is nothing but actually star and the address 1050. So you are going to derefer this address. So actually you will jump to that address. What this will say, jump to address 1050 and then bring that value. Bring that value. Bring the value which is stored at that address. So it is going to give you value 5. You will have 5 as a final value. Okay, so what we do here, if we want to access value at the given address, then we are going to use star and the pointer variable star p. That is nothing but star and the value of p, which is 1050. Now this dereferencing operator star वो क्या बोलेगा, पहले आप उस एड्रेस पे जंप करो and then you bring the value which is stored at that address. वहां से जो value है वो लेके आओ. And in that case, what you will do, you will jump to that address 1050 and then you will bring that value 5. You will bring that value 5. So this printf statement is going to print 5 on the output screen. That's all. पॉइंटर सिर्फ इतना ही फंडा है. अगर ये समझ लो अच्छे से, ये दिमाग में उतार लो अच्छे से, then pointer is nothing new, nothing else than this part. अब ये पॉइंटर को समझने के लिए मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम मैं मेरे सारे स्टूडेंट्स को एक टेबल देता हूँ. इफ दिस इज द केस, you have variable a, you have variable pointer variable p is pointing to a, then in this case what you do is you simply try to understand one table. You remember this table only. Okay, you have variable a and you have variable p. Now you just need to understand what happens if I apply ampersand sign on a and ampersand sign on p. What do you think? Okay, what do you think? Yeah, Herschel, you can always refer this recording later point of time if you want to have something. अगर हर बार मैं सारे स्टूडेंट्स की रिक्वायरमेंट के लिए ये टू एंड फ्रो होता रहूँगा, then we will not be able to complete our content. अगर आपको समझ में नहीं आया है then you can ask, but if you want to note it down then you can do it later point of time. You can refer this recording. Okay, so let's get back to this table. पॉइंटर के साथ आपको सिर्फ ये टेबल याद रखना होगा. You have to understand this table. So what happens if I apply ampersand on a? If I apply ampersand on a, then it gives the address of a. And similarly, if I apply ampersand on p, then it will give me the address of p. So tell me, what is the address of a? It is 1050. So this is going to be 1050. And what is the address of p? Correct, it is 4020. So that is what you are going to receive when you apply ampersand on both these variables. Okay, when you apply both ampersand on both these variables, you are going to have this thing. Now tell me, what if I apply star on p? What should be the value here? Correct, it gives me the value. Okay, Yeah, before this, let us understand. Okay, let's understand one more thing. First of all, let us understand what is the value of both these variables. Then we will try to understand ampersand, and then we will try to understand star. Okay. So tell me, what is the value of A? Yeah, value of A, correct. That's correct. Value of A is 5. Now tell me, what is the value of P? Correct, it is 1050. Value of P, remember? Correct, it is 1050. Now ampersand A, it is 1050, right. Ampersand P, 4020. Now tell me star P, this thing. It is going to be 5. Why 5? Let's again understand. Star and P. That says star and the value of P, which is 1050. So you jump to this address, okay, and then combinedly bring the value. So when you jump to 1050 address, at that address you have value 5, and that's what you will get here. Okay, so star P is value 5. Now tell me, what will be star A? What will be star A? Yeah, A is not a pointer variable. That's correct. Ankur is saying garbage. That is also correct. And in some places, depending on the compiler, you will have error here. So we will say it's an error. Now, that depends actually, because when I write star A, what it will tell me? It will say that star and value of A is 5. So it will say that jump at address 5, and then you bring value. Okay, that's what we need to perform, correct? So एक्चुअल में क्या होगा, C एग्जीक्यूटर जो है वो एड्रेस 5 पे जंप करेगा और वहां से एक वैल्यू लेके आएगा. नाउ कौन सी वैल्यू? Because we have declared this variable as integer pointer, it is going to read integer value. So it is going to bring that integer value, but वहां पे उस एड्रेस पे integer value है, इसकी क्या गारंटी है? Nothing, right? So in that case, maybe you will have a garbage value. If A की वैल्यू कुछ इस तरह से है कि which is not an address, तो यहाँ पे एरर जनरेट होगा, बिकॉज स्टार को एड्रेस चाहिए और जो वैल्यू आप दे रहे हो वो एड्रेस ही नहीं है. देन इट विल जनरेट एन एरर. समटाइम्स इट विल हैव नल वैल्यू. जहाँ पे आप जंप कर रहे हो वहाँ पे एक भी वैल्यू स्टोर्ड नहीं है, देन यू विल हैव नल वैल्यू. सो दिस डिपेंड्स ऑन द कंपाइलर एक्चुअली, what compiler you use and what will be the value. Right now we'll say it is going to be the error, because A is not a pointer variable, and that's why we cannot apply dereferencing operator on A. So this is what you have to remember in terms of pointers. Okay. अगर ये अच्छे से समझ लो तो पॉइंटर आपको टफ नहीं लगेगा. लेटर पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम, व्हेनेवर देयर इज अ पॉइंटर, आपको सिर्फ ये याद करना है. मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम्स व्हाट आई विल से इज you draw this kind of a structure on a page and then try to understand what is happening behind the screen. अब ये पॉइंटर वेरिएबल इंटीजर का हो या तो फिर ये पॉइंटर कैरेक्टर का हो, पॉइंटर फ्लोट का हो, डजंट मैटर. इवन दिस पॉइंटर कैन बी द स्ट्रक्चर टाइप. अगर आप पॉइंटर स्ट्रक्चर का लेते हो तो भी चेंज कहाँ पे होगा, एट दिस प्लेस. पॉइंटर तो सेम रहेगा. इट इज़ गोइंग टू रिक्वायर 2 बाइट बिकॉज इट ओनली स्टोर्स द एड्रेस. उसको सिर्फ एड्रेस स्टोर करना है. जो कुछ भी चेंज है वो एक्चुअल में जहाँ पे आप डेटा स्टोर करते हो वहाँ पे चेंज होगा. सो वहाँ पे इंटीजर है, कैरेक्टर है, फ्लोट है, डबल है, स्ट्रक्चर है, चलेगा, कोई बात नहीं. राइट. So this is what happens, and this is how your memory will be allocated when you call malloc function. तो malloc जो है वो memory block allocate करने के बाद एड्रेस रिटर्न करेगा. वो एड्रेस void pointer होगा, तो हम उसको टाइप कास्ट करेंगे हमारी रिक्वायरमेंट के हिसाब से. उसको इंटीजर पॉइंटर, फ्लोट पॉइंटर, जो भी आपकी रिक्वायरमेंट है उसमें कन्वर्ट करो, एंड यू स्टोर दैट एड्रेस इनसाइड अ पॉइंटर वेरिएबल. एक बार पॉइंटर आ गया तो यूजिंग पॉइंटर डेटा कैसे एक्सेस करना है दैट यू ऑल नो. So this is what the malloc is. Okay, and the example, I also have that example here in the slide. So when I upload this PPT in PDF format, you will have this example also. So if you want to store 10 integer values, then you'll have 10 multiplied by size of integer. Call your malloc function. It will allocate 20 bytes. You are going to convert those 20 bytes into 10 partitions of 2 bytes each using integer pointer typecasting. And you will store that address inside some variable, pointer variable numbers. Now we have to check कि malloc ने हमें क्या रिटर्न किया. अगर मेमोरी अलोकेट नहीं कर पाया है वो, इफ मेमोरी अलोकेशन हैज नॉट बीन डन प्रॉपरली, तो हमें नल रिटर्न होगा. ओके, सो वी हैव टू चेक दैट थिंग. सो वी गो फॉर इफ कंडीशन. इफ योर नंबर्स इज नल, इसका मतलब ये है कि मेमोरी अलोकेट नहीं हो पाई है. अगर मेमोरी अलोकेट नहीं हुई है देन वी कैन नॉट गो फर्दर. अगर हमारे पास मेमोरी ही नहीं है तो हम आगे जाके क्या एग्जीक्यूट करेंगे. सो इफ नंबर्स इज इक्वल्स टू नल, तो हम एक एक्नॉलेजमेंट मैसेज देंगे, नो मेमोरी, एंड वी आर गोइंग टू टर्मिनेट आवर प्रोग्राम. वी आर गोइंग टू टर्मिनेट आवर एंटायर प्रोग्राम. अगर आप प्रोग्राम से एग्जिट होना चाहते हो, then you can have this exit statement. Exit with some status. So 0 is the status number. You can have anything, exit 0, exit 1, exit 1000, exit 5000, anything you can have it. So what it will do, it is going to terminate your program with status 0. तो ये आपके प्रोग्राम को टर्मिनेट कर देगा, आगे नहीं बढ़ेगा आपका प्रोग्राम. एंड इन द एल्स पार्ट, या तो फिर आप ये एल्स पार्ट ओमिट भी कर सकते हो, इट इज़ ऑप्शनल. डू समथिंग विथ योर मेमोरी, जो भी आप करना चाहते हो. ओके, सो दैट्स द एग्जांपल ऑफ malloc. नाउ लेट अस वेरी क्विकली हैव अ लुक एट calloc फंक्शन ऑल्सो. हम calloc भी एक बार देख लेते हैं, क्योंकि malloc और calloc में सिर्फ सिंटेक्स का डिफरेंस है और कोई डिफरेंस नहीं है. There is one more minor difference, I'll tell you. So just like malloc, we call calloc function. अब जो चेंज है वो क्या है, अर्लियर वी वर गोइंग फॉर मैन्युअल मल्टीप्लिकेशन. हियर 10 मल्टीप्लाई बाय साइज ऑफ समथिंग, तो ये मल्टीप्लिकेशन हमने लिखा था. इन टर्म्स ऑफ calloc आपको वो करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. यू सिंपली गिव द नंबर ऑफ एलिमेंट्स n, and then you give the second parameter size of your element. आपको मल्टीप्लिकेशन करने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, calloc फंक्शन खुद वो मल्टीप्लिकेशन कर लेगा. So instead of single parameter, we will have 2 parameters here, number of elements and size of element, and we are going to have calloc method. We will go for explicit typecasting, and then we will store the address in some pointer variable. right? So that's one difference. malloc के अंदर सिंगल पैरामीटर था, calloc के अंदर दो पैरामीटर्स हैं. अब दूसरा एक चेंज है, calloc function will initialize your memory with the default value. So malloc function जो है वो आपकी मेमोरी को इनिशियलाइज नहीं करता है. calloc function आपकी मेमोरी को इनिशियलाइज करेगा डिफॉल्ट वैल्यू से. Now what this default value will be? Okay, I haven't written. Well, अगर इंटीजर, फ्लोट, डबल या लॉन्ग इंटीजर, शॉर्ट इंटीजर ऐसा कोई डेटा है, then it is going to be 0. इंटीजर के लिए 0, फ्लोट डबल के लिए 0.0 एंड सो ऑन. ओके, अगर कैरेक्टर है then it is going to be null character /0. अगर string है then it is again going to be null character. So the default value will depend on the data type. अगर वो नंबर है तो 0, अगर वो कैरेक्टर है तो null character /0 रहेगा डिफॉल्ट वैल्यू में. And that's how we allocate a memory. Now once you are done with allocation, you may perform your task. आपको जो कुछ भी करना है उस मेमोरी के साथ आप वो डेटा स्टोर कर सकते हो, कैलकुलेशन कर सकते हो, whatever you want you can do it. Now once you are done with your task, जैसे ही आप अपना काम खत्म कर लो, then don't forget to free this memory. So we'll jump to the free function directly. And just to make it free, आपको क्या करना है, you simply call free method, free function, और उसके अंदर आप अपना पॉइंटर वेरिएबल पास करोगे. आप अपना पॉइंटर वेरिएबल पास करोगे फ्री फंक्शन के साथ. एंड इट इज गोइंग टू मेक योर मेमोरी फ्री. वो आपकी मेमोरी फ्री कर देगा. रिमेंबर, दिस पॉइंटर वेरिएबल मस्ट कंटेन इनिशियल एड्रेस. आपका जो मेमोरी ब्लॉक है उसका इनिशियल एड्रेस होना चाहिए इस पॉइंटर के अंदर, क्योंकि ये फ्री फंक्शन जो है वो आपकी मेमोरी को फ्री करेगा, लेकिन कहाँ से फ्री करेगा, उसको कुछ एड्रेस चाहिए. दैट एड्रेस मस्ट बी इनिशियल एड्रेस ऑफ योर मेमोरी ब्लॉक. सो वी हैव सीन malloc, calloc एंड फ्री फंक्शन टुडे. आज हमने malloc, calloc और फ्री ये तीन फंक्शन देखे हैं. इन नेक्स्ट लेक्चर वी आर गोइंग टू हैव अ लुक एट अ प्रोग्राम which makes use of malloc, calloc and free. अगले लेक्चर में हम एक प्रोग्राम बनाएंगे जहां पे हम इसको यूज करेंगे और देखेंगे कि क्या फर्क होता है. आफ्टर दैट प्रोग्राम we will see realloc method. Okay, after that program we will see what is realloc, and we will see one program for realloc also. Okay, so that will be the next few lectures before we actually start data structure content. We are going to have a look at this dynamic memory allocation part. Well, Om is asking, will calloc return null like malloc if memory allocation is not done? Yes, it is. The only difference between malloc and calloc is, well, there are two differences. First difference is the parameters, and the second difference is initialization. Okay, first difference is number of parameters and the second difference is initialization part. इसके अलावा malloc और calloc दोनों सेम है. bunch of memory block आपको allocate करेगा, initial address return करेगा, return data type void pointer है, हमें उसको data type मतलब टाइपकास्ट करना पड़ेगा. अगर मेमोरी allocate नहीं हो पाती है तो वो null return करेगा. everything is same. So here we conclude our today's session. Hope you have learned something new, and I hope that if you do have any queries, then maybe those queries are resolved in this lecture. As I told you, we will have few more lectures on dynamic memory allocation before we start data structures content. So thank you everyone for being part of this session here. All these recorded lectures will be uploaded to the YouTube channel, and you will have those lecture links in your student portal once attendance is filled. Okay, so just wait for 1 or 2 days and you'll have those links also. That's all. See you in the next lecture now. Thank you.